Hi, Jamie Werner here, owner of AutoLab, authorized distributor of CoverGuard products in North America. Today, what we're going to be doing is going over setting up some CoverGuard paint protection film with our Graphtec FC9000 plotter. First thing we need to do is get the film set up and insert it into the actual plotter so we can get all of the pinch rollers aligned. Then we're going to go through the settings, make sure the blade depth is at the right spot, and then make sure that we do a test cut to confirm that the blade is actually cutting deep enough. Once we do that, we're going to test to make sure that it's running straight, and then it's off to the races. So here we go. So the first thing we need to do is take our film, which has a cap sheet on it, and feed it through in between the pinch rollers. Once we get it through, we need to evenly distribute the pinch rollers across the whole width of the roll. Now with the FC9000, we need to start with our outside roller first and then move the rollers spread out and go towards the inside. So the one towards the motherboard is going to be the last one we focus on. Now what will happen is we're going to take the edge of the film and line it up with the edge of the plastic that holds that rubber wheel. Then we're going to evenly move our other rollers to their spots. And you'll notice on the back of the plotter, there's these black plastic clips that help us actually lock the pinch rollers down and in. When it comes to paint protection film, unlike window tint, we want to use all four rollers, but also have full force on all four rollers. If it does leave any marks, it eventually disappears after the install, so you don't have to worry about leaving marks behind. Unlike with window tint, it winds up being permanent. So once we have the film evenly distributed with the pinch rollers, we're going to push forward and pull tight backwards so we have a tight feed moving forward. And that way, when I hold the film down in the middle and I let go, it should be straight. Now what I'll do is I'll move the last roller back and forth till I have the edge of the film to the edge of the plastic, just like we have on the other end. And then we'll take our arm and lock it in. Once that's done, we're now going to measure it by pressing 1, and that's going to do the front roll. It's going to measure in between the pinch rollers. Later on, we're going to go over settings that's going to allow us to measure outside the pinch rollers, so we can get 0.34 extra inches on the actual measurement. So now that we have that measured, we're going to test to see how much actual width we got. Looks like 59.48. It's pretty good for a 60-inch roll, but we definitely want to get a bigger width. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into Menu. Then we're going to go to number 3, which is Area. We're going to scroll down once and go to Expand, which is number 2. So then what we're going to do is we're going to scroll all the way up to 0.394 and then press Enter. And that's going to expand our area quite a bit. So now we have 59.63. So it's going to gain more width of our 60 inches than if we were to just leave it at its standard default. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to feed the film out to see if it's running straight. So what we're going to do is we're going to see these little hash marks and circles on the actual framing, and we're going to take the edge of the film and we're going to see if it moves back or forth. If it does, then the film's not running straight. If it actually is running straight and we don't see it moving back and forth, it's perfect. So what we're going to do is feed it out about 10, 15 inches to see if it does. If it doesn't, then we're running the film straight. So next step is making sure that the blade is cutting deep enough. So we first need to make sure that the blade depth is good, and then also the downforce is good. So we're going to set the blade, then do a test cut, and then we can make our adjustments from there. So we're going to unlock it, take the blade holder out, and then there's a little blade right in here at the tip. So usually the FC9000s, they come with a magnifying glass. So what we would do is we would take this, we'd stick it in and look at it through the light. We want the blade sticking out to the 3rd hash mark. When we do that, that's going to get us deep enough that we're cutting through the cap sheet, cutting through the film and the adhesive, but not cutting through the liner. That's a crucial aspect, that we're basically cutting through almost all of the film and then kiss cutting the liner. That way we're basically making it super, super easy to weed all the excess film, and we're not screwing up the film by cutting through all the way, and then all of a sudden you have pieces popping up. So now that we're gonna get the blade set, we're gonna test it. We wanna make sure that this locking mechanism is on top of the blade holder lip. Lots of times people will make the mistake and they put it under, and then as they start cutting, it starts to get loose. So make sure that the locking mechanism is on top of the lip. Now what we're gonna do is go to condition test, and then you're gonna see on the bottom it says cut test. So we're just gonna do the first one, and that's the left arrow. And what it's gonna do is it's gonna cut a triangle inside of a square. So the goal is when we press enter and it cuts that, we need to see if we can take it out with our fingernail. And if we can do that, then it's perfect. If not, and it's not cutting it straight up, well, we have to make some adjustments. So either the first thing we do is adjust the blade depth, or the next thing would be the downforce. So again, we're looking for a nice clean cut. Second piece is making sure that we can take it out with our fingernail. And then the third piece is that we're getting a kiss cut on that liner and that we're not cutting all the way through. Once that's done, we just press enter. It's gonna go right back to the first feed. And then the last thing we need to do is get it set. So we're gonna feed it out just a hair, and then we're gonna do a cross cut so we have a nice clean cut across. That way it's nice and straight, and we have a fresh cut, and we don't have our test cuts that are, in the middle of a pattern that we're about to start cutting. So then the next step would be to go to cross cut, press 1, which is cut, and then it's gonna go ahead and cut.